All right, you guys, today's No Red Ink lesson is having you identify and correct misplaced modifier and dangling modifier. So I'm going to go over these with you really quickly, and then you'll have the rest of the day to work on your No Red Ink assignment. So first, let's talk about misplaced modifiers. Modifiers are that just means like information in a sentence about another word. So a misplaced modifier is a word, phrase, or clause that is in the wrong place. The rule is you want that modifier as close as possible to the word it is meant to modify. When you don't do this, you create some unnecessary confusion in your sentence, and your reader might misinterpret what you're trying to say. So let's look at the incorrect ones and look at how to correct those. Number one, they imagined an extraordinary space trip in their classroom. We're looking at this modifying phrase in their classroom. Based on how it's used in this incorrect sentence, it makes it sound like the space trip is in the classroom. Like I'm sitting in my desk, I look right, and boom, there's Jupiter, right? That's not what the writer meant. So you can correct that, right? We're actually doing the imagining in the classroom. So just take that prepositional phrase in their classroom and get it closer to the they imagined, right? So you correct it by saying, in their classroom, comma, they imagined an extraordinary space trip. Similar example here, number two, from the ocean floor, Andy gave me a seashell. That makes it sound like Andy is down in the ocean right now, and he grabs a seashell, and his Inspector Gadget arm reaches up to me at the beach, right? That's not what's happening. They are just trying to tell us that the seashell came from the ocean floor. So you have to move that modifying phrase as close as possible to seashell. So look at how we corrected here. Number two, Andy gave me a seashell from the ocean floor. Okay. Dangling modifiers, this is where you're missing it. So a dangling modifier is a word or phrase or clause that does not connect to or logically modify any word in the sentence. So like a lot of times you're missing the subject of the sentence. So look at the incorrect one, number one. Refreshed but hungry, comma, the fried egg tasted great. This is implying that the fried egg is refreshed and hungry, right? You need to tell me who is refreshed and hungry. So look at how we correct it. I got out of bed refreshed but hungry, and the fried egg tasted great, right? You included that I. You included the subject of the sentence there. This one starts with a gerund phrase, right? Walking home from school, comma. When you start with these phrases, okay, whatever comes after the comma needs to be the subject, whoever's doing that action. So walking home from school, comma, the wind blew over a pine tree, right? The wind is not who is walking home from school. So you need to correct it. Walking home from school, comma, we saw the wind blow over the pine tree. Again, the subject needs to come immediately after that comma there, after that introductory phrase. Okay, last one, number three, using DNA evidence, comma, the suspect was proved innocent. Like I just said with that number two example, right? The subject, whoever's performing this action, needs to come immediately after that comma if you start your sentence in this way. The suspect is not the one using DNA evidence, right? They're not like the scientists behind this. These are the people being accused. So this person corrected it by just totally changing the organization structure of the sentence and saying instead, DNA evidence proved that the suspect was innocent. That's totally fine to rearrange the subject, but you could also have done like using DNA evidence, comma, right? The scientist proved that the suspect was innocent, right? Whatever's doing the action, if you have one of these introductory phrases, needs to go directly behind that comma. Okay. Again, that's modifier issues. That's what you're working on today. If you get stuck or you need any assistance, just make sure you reach out to me as soon as possible.